So, Andy Cohen is letting us know that his team is getting ready for the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. You all should be tweeting all of your questions for the cast right now and let him know where you're from in the question. And that is my question to you. What do you guys want to know about this season and this reunion that's coming up in, I would assume, about a week and a half or 2 weeks? I would say about a week and a half, I think we have from the reunion taping. So the season is winding down. Okay. It's winding on down. Okay. So let's talk about it. First things first, shout out to our friends over at OMFG Reality TV, Scott Squad. We are back in the building for another live. We're talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Episode 10, Star Spangled Mess. And finally, our girl Drew Sidora was on Watch What Happens Live last night. And there was one thing that I really did want to point out. I spent some time today watching the episode because I didn't watch it last night. I watched it this morning so it could be fresh on my mind. And I also watched some clips from Watch What Happens Live with Drew on it. And one of the things that our friends over at No Chaser caught was something that she said was she did not like Angela's allegations that occurred tonight in this, like in last night. Well, I would say that occurred in last night's episode. But we had previously talked about it because she had hinted at it when she had the dispute with Shamea in the prior episode. And in the episode that we're talking about, Angela tells the girls that she believes that Shamea is or has been sleeping with Atlanta Hawks and Falcons players. Now, you guys know I did a little breakdown of what I felt about Shamea's personality. And some of that is stemming from her being a host or a commentator at these games. And so Angela was questioning, well, why are you still working those games? It must be the men that's paying you, or it was an allusion to her potentially or allegedly sleeping with these players as well. Now, for me, this is part of what I don't always like about this particular show is that the ladies, and we've seen this happen quite a few times, and it's nothing new at this point, but I really don't like the accusation of this because if it doesn't have a receipt attached with it, then it's kind of like, are we just anybody is able to make up anything and say whatever they want to say, and everybody's just supposed to roll with it, right? Now, granted, Shamea did say that Charles was always outside. Now, that could have definitely been for Angela, like, well, if you're saying my husband's outside, I'm going to say you're sleeping with Atlanta Falcons players. Angela could be thinking, well, at least I'm not talking about your husband, for which she did later call him Sasquatch, or said he looked like Sasquatch, which I did think was also a little bit low. But if Angela is thinking, well, if you're talking about my husband, then I'm going to talk about yours. But also, too, Angela said at the beginning of the season, she didn't care what anybody said about Charles. She wasn't defending it anymore. So she was over it. But I guess we're not really over it. So Drew was saying on this particular episode of Watch What Happens Live, she does not agree with what Angela has said. And she would prefer that if Angela's going to say this, then that Angela also have some receipts. Because what Angela says in the episode is, well, no, she doesn't have any receipts, but she does believe the person who told her this information. So yet again, we have another rumor from another unknown person who shan't be named. Again, I question, is this the same person that's telling K. Michelle that the people are out to get her? Is this also the same person that Kelly is allegedly sleeping with, who is also a married Nigerian pastor who is also a client of Phaedra's? Is this one and the same person that is doing all of these things? Because darn this person, darn you person, okay, for causing all this chaos down in Atlanta, for speaking to these people in voices that we cannot hear, for making them believe that people are out to get them, for spreading rumors and and nastiness about Shamea and these Hawks players, for whispering sweet nothings into K Michelle's ear, telling her that the people are coming for her. The people are scaling the walls trying to get her. Dang you for also running amok, telling Kelly's alleged business. As soon as she gets off a flight, the woman can't even check into a hotel room because at this point, whomever you are, person, you are standing outside of her room with a cup to the door, listening in as she is allegedly making whoopee with someone who is apparently a married Nigerian pastor who is also a client of Phaedra's, and Phaedra's, yep. Darn you for causing all of this confusion. I'm mad at you, person. Because otherwise, everybody can just say whatever they want to say at this point. And to me, that's dangerous. That's really, really a dangerous precedence to start setting on this show. And it's not that they just started setting it. I mean, I feel like it's been embedded in the fabric of the show for quite some time now. And it's just kind of played out to me. It really is. I don't I argue about what's happening on the show, but like all this other unseen, unspoken, who said it drama, I don't have time to play Clue with y'all no more. Okay, I did it with K Michelle. I don't feel like doing. I did it with Portia and the married Nigerian pastor person, but I just don't feel like doing it with you too, Angela. I just don't feel like doing it. I'm tired of playing Clue. Oh my God, today. Okay, so the episode starts off with Pinky Cole and Naturi Naughton, and they are preparing a project called Edgewood, which is about Pinky's ascension to the top, right? You know, what did it take? This is her story, and it is a scripted series, not a movie, for which she has apparently reached out to Drew and Shamea to apply, audition for. Okay, now this is a big deal for Pinky. Pinky also, because I was like, girl, you got a lot of money to be just handing out and doling out for you to be going through this bankruptcy. But something maybe I didn't necessarily understand was that for Pinky really describes the bankruptcy in this manner. It is a personal bankruptcy. So anything that she's tied her person to, right? This is what she would be dealing with the bankruptcy for, but not necessarily the businesses, which could be financing these projects, which sounds to me to be the tune of $40,000 for whatever it is that's going on here. Now, at that $40,000 range, when we start to really analyze where that $40,000 is going, I would have to also wonder if the budget wasn't really budgeting for Drew for this project. And maybe that is why she decided not to participate in the audition, in addition to the fact that maybe she did or she did not get the sides, which are like a small snippet of a scene for which you might have your lines and you're reading it with someone else, and you just kind of learn your lines for that. And that's how you go into the audition. Usually somebody will read with you from the production team, the producer, or another cast member or something like that. And then you will read your lines, and that's how it works. Or they'll have hired somebody to come in and work with you, or you may just be working with another actor in general, right? So that's how that could typically work. It is unclear to me, based on what was said in the episode, if Pinky did indeed get the sides to Drew's manager. That's a big point of question, because otherwise Drew could seem very much like she's coming in like a diva. She could seem like that. And I get it, but we don't know. I need to know the actual details of it. I need to know if there was budget for what Drew would be wanting to expect as a paid actress, someone of her caliber, because whether or not Drew does a Tubi movie or whether or not she does a movie that is maybe premiering in a local theater, whether or not, I mean, whatever the case may be, Drew does have a pedigree and a history in this space. And I mean, granted, she'd be working with Naturi Naughton, who also, in my opinion, has a very, very good like a very, very good resume and IMDb, as Drew would say, as well. So on the strength of that alone, that could have been enough for her to make an inroads with this project. But again, if I know that the budget was 40,000, okay, and I wonder if Drew is saying, well, I am requesting X amount. This is how much I get paid. I could be getting paid. She could be getting paid at least 20,000 for an appearance for something. And so if there's no budget for it and she's only receiving 3,000, then maybe she would say no. But here's the other end of that spectrum. And let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck, right? Because I was thinking about this. I'm thinking to myself, like, if based on what we have seen from the court docs and whatnot about and the things that they have put out there about the house being behind or something like that, and how much she would need to make in order for her to not be homeless and this, whatever that was in the news, allegedly based on the documents, then my wonder is, if I'm offered said job, even if it is $3,000, I'm used to getting paid $20,000. I will still take this $3,000 because what I do know is that the $3,000 that I'm getting is also going to work for me because I am actually going to now secure further. I'm going to further embed myself in this show in a way that I am now working with Pinky in the same way she worked with Candy. And that also further fuels potential drama from a naturally occurring issue, which is tension built from having to work with another cast member. Then that also extends the lifetime of my story within the fabric of this show. So if I do work with her and things go right or they go left, this could also be good for me on the reality show end as well as on the movie end, because even if she does not necessarily make $3,000 on the front end, what negotiations could you make on the back end to get that back end chunk of change, that coin, right? Because let me tell you something about the back end. The back end is where a lot of times actors and people who are attached to a project can potentially make a lot more money, because if the film then gets licensed to Peacock and then to Amazon and then to Tubi and then to all these other places, you end up getting a cut from the percentage of the lifetime of this particular project if you so negotiate that, which could then end up being well over the $20,000 that you were commanding in the beginning. Okay, so in my mind, if I'm Drew, knowing what we know now, I'm probably going to take this role because of all of the extra that comes along with my participation in this role and Pinky's participation on the show. Okay? That's just me. All right? That's just me and my thinking based on what we know now. But I don't know what happened in the mix. I don't know if the wires got crossed. Pinky says she's never got the email address. I don't know, right? So Pinky's a little annoyed and she wants her to get out. Now, here's the thing about Shamea Drew running into Shamea. I can never tell in these scenes with Shamea and Drew, like if they're both being passive aggressive with each other or not. And more often than not, it to me always feels like even if they're trying to get along, there's still a level of passive aggressiveness between these two ladies that I just feel like always makes me uncomfortable when I'm watching the two of them together, because I feel like one or the other is really faking it. I do. And in this episode in particular, there were moments where I felt like Shamea was trying her hardest to be happy for Drew, but it was still kind of laced in shade. And sort of the same with Drew as well. Like, Drew came into the space a little above it all, to be honest with you. And, I sort of can get it, right? If we did not know what we knew now about what was happening with her and Ralph, then one could think that, okay, well, Drew probably has such a slate of projects on her deck that she don't really have time for this type of thing, right? One could think that. One could potentially think that. But as of what I've seen, I don't know that to be true. So I don't know. I do know that, yes, you have a long tenure of work, but a lot of times it is in this industry, you're only as good as your last project. You're only as good as your last project. So I think that this is such a great question, Toya BC. I don't understand, what is the beef? And I'm going to tell you what I think it is as we get to the end of this episode. So we're going to come back to this question. Shamea's in a slightly different scenario in this case. She wants to audition because she's at a different life cycle, at a different point in the life cycle of her career as an actress. She is in the beginning stages, working, doing the work, and is honestly probably just wanting to get that experience. And now that her role types has been diminished because her husband does not want her to appear in the nude scenes or making out with other men, now she can only probably appear as somebody's fairy godmother, and maybe not even that, or maybe a secretary, or maybe a businesswoman with no vested interest in anybody. Nobody. She can't, she's got to have that type of role where she's not coming into contact with any men's. Okay. So it's got to be that. So now that she knows that, she's got her boundaries set for herself. She can go into this role. If the role doesn't require her to come within 5, 10, 15 feet of a man, then she is good to go. Now, I don't know what that means for the men on set. I'm kidding, right? But what I'm saying is she has some boundaries that she's got to work within. And so now she's if this role offers her something that meets those stipulations, then she should take it. I definitely see that. And I think it's the smart play for her to go to that audition and do the audition and do it big, right? So the next thing that we see is the ladies are meeting at Cynthia's, but not all the ladies. Okay. Not all the ladies are some of the ladies are either not invited or could not make it. I could not ascertain. But it's very interesting to me because while it is seemingly expected for all of the ladies to be invited to Shamea's, it doesn't seem like all the ladies were invited to Cynthia's. So what that tells me is, just like in real life, y'all, everybody's not always going to be invited. And that's just that. I cannot be upset. I'm not offended or upset when my friends meet without me, because guess what? 9 times out of 10, I don't know if I was really wanting to go out anyway. And that's just what it is. Now, I am learning to be like a more social person, but I can get really caught up in my own little world, my own work, what it is that I'm doing, what I got going on, that, sometimes I'll be like, listen, y'all gonna have to go on out there and do y'all thing. And like, I'll see y'all when I see y'all, because like, I'm grown over here. So I got stuff I got to do, right? I can't be hanging out all the time. So for me, I could see people saying, well, Shamea didn't invite all the girls to her event. Well, neither did Cynthia. And that's okay. That's okay. It is absolutely okay. Right? Everybody can't be invited all the time. So the girls who are invited, Drew, Angela, Portia, and then Phaedra. So they meet Cynthia's man, which, he's cool. I like the fact that, unlike Jarvis, and I got to call it out, we actually see Cynthia's man in the flesh. He shows up and then he bounces. He's like, I'm outie. I respect it. As a friend of the show, Cynthia still in her own way manages to sometimes do quite a bit more for this show than some of her full-time co-star castmates. And it's just baffling to me, because at this point in time, we might as well, we can take somebody out of this equation and bring back Cynthia as a housewife. If this is because she's bringing her life. She's bringing her life. This man, all the way from wherever he's from in Europe, he's there with her. She's throwing big events, hosting the cast events, and, she's making situations happen, right? So for me, I'm like, I don't know. We might have to give just Cynthia a peach again, because if this gonna be like this, and certain people can just do it. I mean, I don't know. All I'm gonna say is that I ain't trying to have nobody lose their job. I'm keeping it 100% for real. Okay. In my Nene voice. Now, as they are, all talking and they're meeting as they're meeting the man or whatever, I ain't gonna say what I was about to say. I ain't gonna say it because it was just interesting watching the ladies meet Cynthia's man, and then he was like, "Peace out, cool, I'm done." But anyway, so they get into the fact that Portia met up with K. Michelle, and they're all good. They've agreed to have conversations, and the next time they have an issue, and then it comes up that Angela has met up with Shamea, and it did not go well. And she goes into the fact that this is the version of the story to me that I saw with my eyes. I felt like Angela did go into that scene with the intention to at least have open dialogue, whether it turned good or bad. She was open to having dialogue that was maybe more straight to the point. I felt like there was something that Shamea said that kind of took things to a more sarcastic turn. Then Angela also went to HE double hockey sticks with her, right? So the version that Angela told of the story is I do agree with how that went. That's how it felt like to me. So as she is telling the story, then she goes into, and so Shamea, she is sleeping with these Hawks players. What I love here is that Portia says, not me, girl, not today, Satan, not today, Neck. I am out of here. Okay. I am gone with the wind. Y'all will not catch a facial expression on me. You will not catch a laugh. You will not catch an eye roll. You will not catch a side eye. You will not catch a hair flip. All you will catch is my big old booty as I'm skedaddling out of here, because that is what will happen. That is what will happen. That is exactly what will happen. The moment Angela goes into the story, the camera is going to pan over to Portia's face, and if they catch her in this scene, right? If they catch anything happening with her in this scene, they can put it back together later to make it seem as though she was making a face like, yup, No, they could have did that anyway, but the fact that she said, I'm going to the bathroom, okay, tells me she was smart enough to know, I'm going to leave this scene. I'm going to make it known I'm leaving this scene. Anybody who knows that I said it, y'all know I said I'm going to the bathroom, and here's why I'm doing that. So if you add my face in here later, we will know that I said I was going to the bathroom. So y'all can't even play no tricks with the editing on this one. Okay. I was not in the space that I was sitting in when she said that. And to me, a lot of y'all think it's like, oh, well, that I'm happy she's not participating in this talk about Shamea. I think it's number one that, but I think it's also two, Portia is seasoned enough on the show to also understand that y'all not going to catch anything from me, because the moment she gives a head nod is the moment that it is, oh, I'm agreeing with what Angela's saying. And oh, yes, I'm now perpetuating this rumor that Shamea is out here doing all these things because I was in the room present too as well. So I think that she was smart to do that, and I like that she did it. To me, I felt like that was it was a bold move, and it was the right move. Okay. Period. Who's talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville? What are we talking about? Anyway, so she leaves. The next thing you see is Angela doubles down on this whole situation with the Shamea and the Atlanta Hawks people or whatever like that. Again, y'all know how I feel about it. There's no need for me to continue to beat that horse. I don't really like it. I don't really like when they come to the table with all of these accusations and things like that. I mean, some of this stuff could be like, the man, Gerald, don't even want to be on this show. No way. And so I just be feeling like, Shamea, take this man off this show. Go and live your happy life and just be content with doing all the fabulous things that you know that you can do. You can still do movies, you can still do all this stuff, but that man do not want to be on this show like that. I mean, listen, just because it's just not gonna. I just feel like this man is gonna become a victim of what you do in this situation. He is. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that he should dictate what you do or your future. But what I am saying is you seem like you have a very lovely life. I would go and live that lovely life in a whole other fashion away from all of this chaos. I would. Okay. I would. You see how, listen, okay, I'm gonna tell you what I know. Okay. So the next scene that we see is Giselle meets up with Portia. Giselle from Potomac. That was a fun scene. I like watching Giselle and Portia together. I feel like Giselle in this new era of her existence on Housewives and in general seems so much more fun, so much more relatable, so much more likable. I feel like she's having fun in this stage and in this space in her life. And I feel like she understands the TV game now, and I feel like she's fully embraced it. Her and Portia are having shots. They're fun to watch together, and they keep the energy light. And even I did like that Giselle came into this with the thought that I want to find out what's going on with you and Shamea because I root for you guys. And I feel like there's not enough people who are actually rooting for Shamea and Portia to at least like try to get back to some semblance of what they may have had. I don't think that there's anyone on that show currently who is actually rooting for that. And so I think that that's why you will never see the two of them be friends again, at least in the way that they used to be. Not only because the people on the show right now aren't rooting for them, but I think also too, it's like this. And you got to have relationships or you got to be around people who uplift what you're doing. Okay. It would be like if you have a whole group of friends and none of them really believe in your business or your side hustle or your business that you got going on. And it's very difficult to be around that type of energy and really truly succeed because it's always going to be weighing you down what these other people think and how they interject their thoughts and their opinions. I look at friendships and relationships in the same way. So you've got to surround yourself with people who are of a similar mindset, of a similar ilk, and are supportive of what it is that is actually happening. Because if they're not, and if they see some little cracks in it, then they're always going to utilize those cracks. And to be quite honest with you, I feel like what is happening on this show is a lot of times, I feel like Shamea is still paying for being Portia's ride or die when the things that people call out about Shamea are still things that she did when she was riding for Portia, but they are no longer mad at Portia. That's what I feel like. And I know, and I firmly feel like this because I feel like they know that Shamea is the weaker player in this game and that Portia is here for the long run. So it's easier for them to go at it with Shamea than it is with Portia because they know that Portia is the HBIC. I've said it time and time again. I still think it. Every episode when somebody says something, I feel like it further confirms it. And it just is what it is. This is why I feel like Shamea is in a losing game in this situation. Now, Shamea don't always help herself because she does things that are cringy, right? She still does. She does things that are cringy. Let's go. I mean, we can talk about that. We can definitely say that. But and Portia plays this game better because she's been in Housewives for a longer period of time. So she knows to keep things fun and light and keep the seriousness for her own scenes. That is why Portia excels in this space. The scenes that she has with Dennis, or the scenes that she has in her personal life, that is where you're going to get her meat and potatoes at. It is not going to be because she is in conflict with these other women, although she can go there. Okay. What it seems to be that her general focus is unless, well, I don't know. Let me take that back because she had a huge problem with Drew last year and we didn't quite understand that. And it was Shamea who had her back in that whole situation. But now, oddly, Portia don't even remember that she had a problem with Drew But Drew still definitely remembers Portia had a problem with her, but it is Shamea who is still taking the blame for most of those problems. Okay. Because as just as quickly as they were all talking in that scene, Cynthia says, "Oh, I got a text from Shamea about a birthday party for Gerald, but it's only me and Phaedra in the group." So the rest of the girls are just looking like, well, okay, well, and then Portia's like, well, Dennis got an invite. And Drew was like, oh, not Dennis, who Shamea came after me for. Girl, she came after you because she was good friends with Portia, who was also coming after you for working with her baby daddy too. So while it is now that you are sitting here, oh my God, I can't believe that she would invite. You're still now working with Dennis, okay? So it's not even like I don't even understand this whole gasp. Like, oh no, she didn't go. She didn't invite. Girl, you're working with him. So what are you talking about? Clearly, I don't know what the situation may be. I think it is that Gerald is friends with Dennis. But at the end of the day, Drew, you shouldn't be acting all surprised that Portia might have something to say about this. I think it is just you that is glad that it is not you in the hot seat with Portia this season, and it is Shamea, not you. That's what I think, personally. Now, and let me, as I say this ain't Portia's fault that these people are, running up behind her like this. It ain't her fault if listen, because she got it. There's an it factor that Portia has. It's undeniable. It is, whether you like her or not. But I'm just telling you what I feel like I see. Shamea's still paying for the things that happened when she was friends with Portia. They can get at Shamea because they know they can't get at Portia. Period. Now let's get into Shamea. Okay. Shamea has the event for Gerald at her home, and it is an African inspired theme. And it's a surprise party, but Shamea says something crazy like, well, it's a surprise party. So you can't tell people until like the day before, unless so they don't tell Gerald. Girl, which one of these girls is calling Gerald to tell him your business, to tell him that you're throwing a surprise party for him? Who in the group is doing that? Maybe Kelly, because y'all BFFs and she all up in it. You know what I'm saying? All up in your life. But I don't think any of these other girls are going to be ring-a-ling-ling. Hey, Gerald, guess what? I heard that Shamea is throwing a party. No, and if it were the case, then you probably need to start changing your plans about telling Dennis anything about what's going on with Gerald, because he is going to run back and go tell Portia. That's why she knows and the rest of the girls don't. So maybe the person that you need to be actually telling the day before is Dennis. No shade, okay? So Shamea, you got to fix some things on your end too, okay? You got to start setting yourself up to be put. You set yourself up for the fall. Now I'm trying to help you, but you keep setting yourself up for the fall, babes. So you got to stop doing some of that. And you also got to stop telling the story how it did not happen, at least not from the perspective that we saw. From the perspective that I saw when I was watching you and Angela, you kind of did start with her. And I get it. You was upset. You feel like she's been attacking you. I get it. Then say that though. To go the route then next, you need to use your discernment to start selling some houses. And then this sets off a chain of events. You lit the match in that instance. And I get it. Maybe you felt justified, but you got to walk into every situation either with the mindset that I'm going to resolve this or I'm going to simply annihilate you. And you did not annihilate her. So it should have been resolved in that situation, quite frankly. Okay. So she gets into it. She starts calling Angela Bigfoots and everything. And Cynthia's like, no, wait a minute now. Hold on. I got some big feet too. And so Shamea's like, well, you walk different. You carry your big feet different. And Cynthia's like, I'll tell you what Cynthia does say. 50 Cent almost popped up and she said, now hold on now. This that woman's house. This your house now. I'm gonna leave it alone. Me and my big feet's me and my size 13s, we gonna stay over here and we gonna mind our own business while I'm sitting in your house. But you try that again at Lake Bailey. Okay. Cynthia was like, "Now how I get in it? I got some big old toes too." According to K Michelle, she got some long toes too. So it might be all of us in a long tail conversation. I really don't know. Okay, I really don't know. But man, let me tell you something. I was crying. Cynthia to me is able to bring such natural comic relief that she's like a breath of fresh air on this show for me. Okay. Also, too, Cynthia didn't stop Angela. Yes, she did not stop Angela from talking about Shamea cheating. Also, too, Cynthia was the one, kind of the one that was insinuating, like, well, nobody else got an invite. Girl, you didn't even invite Shamea over to your house when when you was getting together with the girl. So, yeah, maybe not everybody's invited to everything. Okay. Anyway, so Drew is going to be singing, "Oh, say, can you see?" Um, down to the park or wherever. It's for an event for Rich Homie Quan and his family. It's a great idea for an event. I think it's a great event for them to participate in. She has invited the ladies, and some are going to go. Now, as the group is planning and plotting about whether or not they're going to go, K Michelle is inviting Phaedra over to her house to go fishing. I'm going to say this about K Michelle, which is interesting on the show to me, is that K Michelle is much more fun one on one, or in a small group. Actually, I think she's probably just better one-on-one with people, because I find her to be a lot more carefree and open when she is one-on-one with someone. And so the K that we see in a group scene is very much different from the K that we see in a scene one-on-one. And I don't know if it's maybe because she feels like she's in much more control of the environment, and maybe in group scenes she feels like a bit of tension because she does not know which way the hammer is going to swing, who is going to throw the boomerang her way. But I think what you have to learn on Housewives, like with any other reality TV show, is you kind of just have to walk into the scene and just not anticipate anything, or maybe anticipate but don't let it impact your behavior. I think if she did that, then you kind of just have to sit on ready, but not be obvious that you're on ready. Like, you should still be able to have fun in a group scene, but I just think that the voice from wherever that told her that the people are out to get her has her seeing stars or double or something like that when she gets down in a group scene. Because when I watch her with Phaedra, this is the K Michelle that I want to see more of. And it's funny to me because when she was at the party and Kelly, yeah, but you saw me, yeah. You just saw me in a fake booty. This body's not fake. It's just not fake. It's just plump. It's just ripe. I just, I like her booty. I give me the booty. I mean, give me that booty. I could. What? Phaedra, who? Close your legs. Close your legs to marry the man. You tell your castmate, girl, I want a booty. Give me some booty. Some me in your booty. I want your booty. Give me. I love your booty. I want to put my mouth in it. Girl, give me that. I might like Kelly drunk. Okay, maybe I might like Kelly better drunk. Okay, y'all know I feel like I don't have a problem with her like y'all have with her, but baby, let me tell you something. Kelly drunk is like, now you're an intriguing woman. Where have you been at? Somebody give her some. Oh, I want some booty. I don't know. This is the wine talking. It's not me. I like that booty, Shamea. Yeah, give me some of that. Yes, Kelly. Tell us how you feel. So as K Michelle is like, what's going on here? She's like, I don't know who's sticking what. If Kelly is running around here up in the bed with Gerald and Shamea. And then she goes on to say, but I want some of this. I want to be in the mix with Kelly, Shamea, and Gerald, and my husband and my man too. And I'm like, so if you don't mind talk about being with the women, being with another man and your man, what is the harm in you knowing black? What is the sin with black? What is wrong with the man black? No, listen, I'm not looking at the man like that, but the man is not like he he's a good-looking guy. I mean, I can say that because it's not a bad thing to say, right? So it's not like we're putting her with someone who is just of ill repute. And I don't really know much about him. I just know what I've seen on the show. So I'm like, if you're fine with a quadruplesome, then you should definitely be fine with being associated with somebody that Drew is maybe or maybe not dating. Nobody's saying that you was like banging the man. You told us more than Drew has told us about your relationship with the man via text message. So I don't understand. I'll understand less about the situation today than I understood it when you first told me about it. Okay, I understand it less personally. Okay. So that thought occurred to me, and I don't know, did it occur to y'all? Like, I was like, well, girl, if you're so free, I mean, then why does it matter if that man was up in your DMs? Like, maybe he liked what he saw. Like, everybody up in your DMs that give you a compliment is not necessarily, I mean, I don't know what he was trying to do. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish, but I don't see what Drew was trying to accomplish. I don't see that. Now, if it was just that you didn't like Drew from a previous interaction, or maybe you just didn't like her red hair, I don't know what it was. I would prefer you to just say that. But right now, I don't get the plot, the plan, the scheme. I don't get it. Okay. Now, again, unless you were going to produce and pull out the person that you said told you all this, then I could understand it, right? Because what we still don't know. And I feel like I'm still chasing waterfalls, and I'm tired of chasing waterfalls with you. K Michelle, I'm tired of it. Okay? Give me names. Where was I? Yes, Drew is going to be singing "Oh Say," and so she is doing that. Pinky shows up, Kelly, Shamea, Portia. Some of the girls are there and some of the girls are not there. And there's some discussion with Pinky and I don't really, it's kind of chaotic when they all arrive. Her manager, Keon, whisks Drew away and she goes to sing, and, she does her thing with the thingy thing, with the singing and whatnot. And here's my thing to me. I personally feel like I don't really need singers to sing the national anthem. I do think it is a mark of a phenomenal vocalist when you do it. But I feel like Drew's voice sits in a pocket that is meant for music, right? And I'm not saying she did a bad job at the Star Spangled Banner. I don't think she did a bad job singing it. But what I do believe, and I'm going to be honest here, is that her voice is better suited to actual music and vocal, because there is something that she has there that I think is so soothing with her tone and with the way that her and Dennis, whatever magic they did working, Dennis and Drew together do some type of magic in the studio. I'm not even gonna hold you on that. And I think that in order for Drew to sing the national anthem to the way I would prefer it, I think that she would need to work with a specific type of vocal coach that can arrange it for her in a way that is more suited to her vocal. And I don't think that that happened last night. I don't think she maximized the moment with the vocal. I don't. Okay? And again, I'm not being rude. I'm not being overly critical, and I'm not coming down on Drew because I admire the fact that Drew, unlike some other people, takes at least the craft seriously enough to keep doing it, right? Unlike some people, Shamea, who I mean, like Shamea, I feel like is a little, I don't want to say all over the place, but I feel like this has been a consistent thing for Drew. Drew has been, I'm going to sing, I'm going to make albums, I'm going to do music videos, I'm going to go out on tour. I'm going to take this seriously. So I think that if Drew had an arrangement that was just a bit more suited to her specifically, because there are so many ways to sing the national anthem that she could have done it and she could have really taken it to the next level if she had had that vocal person work with her in a way that said, okay, we're going to do this here, and do this here. And it's going to be completely different from the way other people have done it. I think it's about the arrangement. Personally, it is the arrangement. And granted, she didn't have, like, I don't know. It just, I think that there were some things missing. And I think that she done those things, then it would have elevated the performance. But even still, it's a hard song to sing. So that's just my honest feedback. Some days I have days where I'm not gonna be very real with y'all. I come from a place of working in news, right? So it is in my nature to oftentimes be politically correct, right? But I also have to come from a place of, like, there are days like today when I just don't have my filters on. So you guys just kind of get what you get. And today's one of those days. So, I apologize if it sounds harsh, but I don't mean it to. I mean it to sound constructive so that the next time she does it, she sounds insane, like insanely amazing. That's what I want for her. And that's because I care. Okay. Because if I didn't, I definitely wouldn't have gave all that. Right. Anyway, and I care about these shows. I care about the people. Like, so the space that I'm coming from is real to me. So anyway, she does her thing. And I can't tell if Shamea and Kelly in their free, I can't tell if they are being sarcastic or if they are being genuinely supportive. Shamea says in her confessional that she stood up for it. So she did feel like Drew did her, quote, big one. But some of the actions and some of the words and language make it feel like it was being, like, passive aggressive in the support. Okay, so that's just how it seemed. So finally, I will say this. Earlier, Phaedra sat down with K. Michelle when they went fishing, and K. Michelle, this is a scene where you probably needed to be on guard. Let me tell you why. Let me go back because I'm going to show you how K. Michelle got there. K. Michelle was not going to go. Okay, Phaedra comes over to the house. They go fishing. Now, Phaedra is fishing in this scene. Phaedra talks about the event that Shamea had for Gerald. Phaedra says, well, Portia wasn't invited. Well, why do you think that is, Kay? Now, I know, Kay, you don't believe that Phaedra was plotting on you, and I'm not saying that she was. But I'm sure you should be looking at her with a side eye because she knows better than you know why Portia and Shamea would not want to be in the same room, or why Shamea would not want Portia in her home better than you would. So why are you and K. Michelle has to look at her like, now you know why that is. Now, this to me is more suspicious behavior that you need to be looking at, K. Michelle, because she's trying to basically get you to say something that would later could potentially be used against you. No, I'm not saying that she was doing that, but I'm saying that, it could seem that way. So if any of your spidey senses need to start going up, it's there, okay? It's right there. But since the people have told you that it is true, we're going to rock with that right now. So Phaedra's like, listen, and I think that Phaedra, see, I feel like Phaedra's doing her housewives job. Phaedra's seasoned housewife. She knows what to do, right? So she wants to bring the group together. Yes, come together, you and the girls. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna come to the event that I'm not actually gonna go to, but you're gonna come to the event, right? Phaedra can't go. Something happened with her son, unfortunately, so she does not make the Star Spangled Banner by Drew. So K Michelle actually comes, but she comes late, but she's coming because she knows the family of Rich Homie Quan. So she makes it very clear when she arrives, I'm not here to support you, lady. I'm here to support these good people here, right? But I'm here, okay? And Drew's like, well, whatever. It's just okay. I'm glad Kay made it. That's all I can say about it. Okay, Kay, you made it out of the house. Thank God. So it is going to be that a few of the ladies, i.e., Shamea, Kay, and Drew, are going to go to dinner after the performance to have some wings and some drinks. Drew arrives. Kay and Shamea are already there. And so Drew, and again, this is also where I feel like, was Shamea being a little passive aggressive? And I cannot tell because, and the reason I say this is because you know that K Michelle has been in this industry a lot longer. And you also know that she is probably a lot further along. I mean, not probably, way further along in her singing career than Drew. Now, knowing that and knowing how hard this Star Spangled Banner is, and then with the constant, girl, you did your big one with the free, with all that, and then saying, okay, I recorded it. You want to hear it? I can't get a good read on if this is genuine support or if it is, I'm going to get you sucker. Right? I mean, I just can't tell. So these are the moments where Shamea, I'm like rooting for you because this is an opportunity for you and Drew to finally come together and really be supportive of one another. Now, again, I'm not saying that Drew don't also know how to throw her darts, but I'm just pointing out things that just made me cringe. And I just want to say, no, Shamea, if you want to support her, just simply say, girl, I'm here. I think you did a great job. And how can we squash this beef, right? And how can we really squash the beef between you and K Michelle? Because otherwise, it didn't feel like she came to the table with the intentions that I would have wanted her to come with. And that is where Shamea frustrates me because I'm like, girl, I am rooting for you. But if you keep setting yourself back and then you put people on edge because they can't determine, and I know if I can't determine it, what are they thinking in the scene? So now Drew's bristled, right? And she's probably, but Drew is a bit more seasoned and Drew is an actress. So Drew can maintain a steady demeanor, even in the midst of sitting amongst a table of enemies, potentially, right? We had a super chat that I do want to acknowledge. Thank you so much, Miss Lee Carter. Miss Lee Carter says, Kay is a hater one, a hater, a nasty one. Should have stayed home. Ladies, leave your man at home. Thank you for that super chat, boo. I appreciate you. Now, so at this point, there is the elefante on the table because Drew says, well, I'm glad you came. And Kay says something to the degree of like, well, you know, I don't like to come places where I'm not welcome. And so Shamea has to elaborate, well, you did say that she did not fit in. What we did not hear during that argument that I heard Drew say in another interview was that K Michelle told her that you're on your way out, which is why she told Kay, you don't fit in. So Drew was responding and saying, well, if I don't fit in, you are, if I'm on my way out, you don't fit in. Okay. So that's what Drew has said. I cannot remember where the interview was that I saw it. If I think about it, I'll put it. If I can find it, I will put it in the description so you guys can watch it for yourselves. Okay. Um. So that's where that came from, and so that's the part that they leave out, and because we didn't see that scene, we didn't see it happen, right? So Drew is like, well, this is where a little passive aggressive Drew comes in, but can I say it was warrant? Can I say it was not warranted? I can't. So she's like, well, I don't understand fragments of sentences. I'm gonna need you to use your words, K Michelle, and and speak up for yourself. I agree. I totally agree with what Drew said right here. I totally agree. Again, what K Michelle ends up hearing is, I'm controlling myself. That is very different from what Drew is asking you. Drew is asking you to articulate what your actual issue with her is, what you have seen in the flesh, not just what you may have heard. And Kay is saying, because I think Kay has repeated this mantra to herself, I cannot revert to the old me. I cannot revert to the old me. I'm holding it all together. I have been in therapy. And I'm like, okay, Kay, I get it. You got to let that go. You got to let the old you go. Okay? We know you're not the old you. We know. And that's fine. Maybe they did hire you to be the old you. I don't know. All I know is if you want to prove that you're not the old you, then handle this scene like the new you. What would the new K Michelle do? The new K Michelle should be able to articulate to Drew, this is what I've heard. Are you doing this? The same way that you articulated it to Phaedra, the same way that you articulated it to Portia, is the same way that you need to do this with Drew. Just sit there, adult to adult, and just have the conversation. And for once, you guys could have been at the end of the scene toasting with your tequila and just having some wings and then just ending the scene on a very nice note. Because that's all that needed to happen. If Drew is asking you, what is your issue? And if you can't ever sit there and just explain it, then I'm going to have to look at you as someone who has an inability to communicate effectively, and that you probably should leave the scene now because you can't do it. That's where I'm at, and I love K Michelle. I am a K Michelle fan, but K, you have got to be able to get through these scenes. You have to. You have to. It's getting. I don't know why production hasn't come in and said, girl, we're going to strap you to this seat until you get through it. We got to move on. We got to move on. Instead, what Kay does is she gets her purse. She's going to go to the bathroom, and then she's actually going to leave. She leaves the purse there because she knows her assistant is going to come back and go get it. Shamea's looking like, girl, she just left in my car. So as she and Shamea are still sitting there, Drew tells her, you've got to hold your friend accountable. And Shamea says, to Shamea's credit, Shamea says, well, I'm going to hold both of you guys accountable. And so then Shamea says something that I feel like is not going to work well for her. She says, well, you keep repeating stuff about K Michelle and Black, but we've never heard that. We heard her say it one time after we saw Kay greet Black and Kay's husband greet Black via the FaceTime. So why would Drew not think y'all know each other? And he may have even told Kay, yeah, told Drew, yeah, I've had conversations with her. I know her via Instagram, and that's about it. But outside of that, we've not heard it. So Shamea, you saying to Drew that Drew keeps saying this, keeps repeating it, and we don't see it. The camera doesn't show it. The camera shows flashbacks of Drew asking everybody in the room, has she been talking about it? Everybody says no. Then I am almost led to believe it was you. And I don't want to believe that because K Michelle has said it was not you. You said it wasn't you. But when is Drew saying this? And how would you know? Because you are not friends with Drew. Y'all don't have any scenes together. Y'all could barely be in the same scene together at the same time. So when are you hearing this? When is it being said? In what rooms do you have microphones set up someplace else? Did a producer tell you this? Who's told you this? Why are you saying it? And now Drew is like, you are perpetuating something that is not happening. And now you are doing to me you are doing for Kay what you did for Portia. Okay. You're doing it again. And now you're a lapdog again. Okay. So then Shamea is like, well, listen, if you're going to call me names, I'm leaving too. So now everybody's leaving their wings at the table. Listen, y'all ain't going to keep leaving this food at this table now. Because see, if I'm Drew, I'm eating everybody's wings. All of them. I don't care who left their wings. I'm eating them. Because my thing is, for all of Drew's faults, what I can say is that she can sit through a scene. Drew can take a licking and keep on ticking. She sat there as Portia annihilated her time and time again last season. She's sitting through each and every one of these scenes as the girls are repeatedly saying that she's out to get them. She's sitting there through it all. She's not gotten frazzled. She has gotten a little, she got, but that was warranted because they were both about to go at it. But she at least is able to make it throughout the scene and also sit there almost pretty calmly at that. So it looks like, regardless of if she is out to get you, Kay, if she is as diabolical as y'all make her seem, y'all are making yourselves look crazy because y'all keep scattering every time she comes around. Suddenly, it's the big bad Drew. The girl be late half the time. Why y'all think she's thinking about y'all? She can't even get through to her team. Do you know what's going on behind the scenes with all 20 people she working with? They can't get it together over there. Drew has got enough going on that she don't need to be thinking about. And I don't listen. Again, it could be true. And maybe she is the big, bad, sinister, evil villain at the end of the Super Mario Brothers game. I don't know. Maybe she is Megatron. But at the end of the day, I just don't see it. Okay? And so until I sees it, until they show us a receipt, until they show us proof, until they show her on the screen, manipulating things behind the scenes and causing and wreaking chaos and havoc and strife in K. Michelle's life, then I don't know what else to do at this point because no one is willing to talk through the scene in order to get to the bottom of anything. I'm tired of playing Clue. I said it earlier. Y'all scattering whenever she comes. It's like, what in the world? What would y'all do if Kenya was on this show? Oh my God. Oh goodness. What? So, wherefore art thou? Whatever would y'all do? Y'all would not be able to handle some of these things that's going on. I swear for God. Anyway, so they gets to running and some kind of way. Now, I don't know if production managed this. I don't know if it was just playing through the car speaker, but the Star Spangled Banner is playing. Shamea and K. Michelle go riding off into the sunset, singing the Star Spangled Banner. I'm not mad at the way they ended the episode because it was definitely a Star Spangled mess. And so I did think that was a creative use of an ending for the episode as Drew just kind of calmly sits there like the masterful evil villain that she is. I want some booty. Where's Kelly? I'll just take me back to Kelly, please, because I want so much Shamea's booty. Can I see some more of Drunk Kelly, please? Because I'm over these people leaving these scenes. I'm just over it. Give me Drunk Kelly any day. You know what I'm saying? Like I would rather have. I'd rather see Drunk Kelly if these girls are not going to be able to stay in the scene. Give me drunk a full hour, 30 minutes of Drunk Kelly at the end of the show. Um, I don't know. I didn't mind. I didn't mind the Star Spangled Banner and them riding off into the sunset. I just wish that the scene had just ended better because I think that they could have just sat there and got some resolve. And I just feel like it's just going to be like, is this the entire season? Hmm. So anyway, y'all, that's my thoughts on the episode. Y'all done wore me out today. I don't know if it was the Star Spangled Banner or the national anthem. I don't know what they. I don't know what's what here in America no more. I don't know. Who know? I don't even know. The Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem, uh, glory to the Father. All of it, all of it. Um. So anyway, let me see what y'all saying. Yeah. So also too, drunk Kelly forgot she had a man. Jarvis. Mm-hmm. I told y'all what Jarvis is on the Avengers. Jarvis is the AI in the Avengers on the movies. If you watch the movies, she said, we'll call him Jarvis. The man then said his name was Tony Stark. Tony Stark is Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr. Jarvis is the AI Tony Stark created as his central intelligence computing system so that he can communicate with his home office and his all of his systems. Jarvis controlled all of that. So Jarvis is not necessarily real until he came to life via Ultron and Vision. Oh, let's go, let's go. Anyway, y'all, let me get off this line. Thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in, and being turned on to this review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay. I've got to go in, out these doors and try to get my 12,000 steps in. 12,000 steps is diabolical. I'm just gonna let you guys know that now. Yeah, there's that. So I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video.